Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having an incredible day or night in Jesus. Thank you so much for being with us. We're looking today at how altruism, among some other things, show a belief in a creator and also would not be compatible with an evolutionary worldview or evolutionary science. So thanks for being here. Join us daily. Share with your friends, family, church family. Hit the bell notification when you subscribe. And check out our other videos. Even going back several years, a lot of them still get a lot of views. We're very grateful for that. So altruism is just giving, helping others, you know. So many animals, including humans, will endanger or even sacrifice their lives to save another, sometimes the life of another species. There's a lot of videos on that, the dodo and all this on YouTube. Sister Waldron and I saw a turtle rescuing another turtle, as a matter of fact, the other day. Natural selection, which evolutionists say explains all individual characteristics, should rapidly eliminate altruistic individuals. How could risky behavior benefits only another ever be inherited? Because its possession tends to prevent the altruistic individual from passing on its genes for altruism. If evolution were correct, and we're in the beginning by Dr. Walt Brown, who's an MIT-trained scientist, taught the Air Force War College, on and so forth, former evolutionist, atheist. So if evolution were correct, selfish behavior should have completely eliminated unselfish behavior. That's the reason, didn't Dawkins have a book called The Selfish Gene or something like that? He sees that. Furthermore, cheating and aggressiveness should have weeded out cooperation. Altruism contradicts evolution. So does beauty. The concept of beauty, you know, why does the sunset look beautiful to us? Why do we have artwork and all this? If all we are, we're just animals at the basic red and teeth and claw, so to speak. Yeah, God, we're in the image of God. Also, he goes into extraterrestrial life, and I mentioned this before, but no verified form of extraterrestrial life of any kind has ever been observed. If evolution has occurred on Earth, one would expect at least simple forms of life, such as microbes, been found by the elaborate experiments sent to the moon and Mars. Now, I will say this. You read Genesis 1, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. Earth without form and void, darkness on the face of the deep. Then God said, let there be light. There was light. And so before the solar system, you had the earth. And so, you know, that is a geo-preeminent model found in Genesis 1. And it's not necessarily geocentric in that everything revolves around the earth, but the earth was here before everything else. And so God only created things on the earth. And the planets and stars, these are for signs, seasons, etc. Then languages, I've done some videos on this in times past. It's a very convincing argument. Children as young as 7 months understand grammatical rules. Furthermore, studies of 36 documented cases of children raised without human contact, feral children, suggest that language is learned only from other humans. Apparently, humans do not automatically speak. If this is so, the first humans must have been endowed with the language ability. There's no evidence language evolved, and that's extremely, extremely true. And we're actually going from a more ordered state to a less ordered state, second law of thermodynamics, even in language. Tower of Babel's the best model. Non-humans communicate, but not with language. True language requires both vocabulary and grammar. With great effort, human trainers have taught some chimpanzees and gorillas to recognize a few hundred spoken words, to point up to 200 symbols, and to make limited hand signs. These impressive feats are sometimes exaggerated by editing the animal success on film. Apes have not demonstrated these skills in the wild and do not pass their communication skills on to others. When a trained animal dies, so does a trainer's instrument. Also, trained apes have essentially no grammatical ability. Only with grammar can a few words express many ideas. No evidence exists that language evolves in non-humans. Did language evolve in humans? Charles Darwin claimed it did. If so, the earliest languages should be the simplest. On the contrary, language study shows that the more ancient the language, such as Latin, Greek, Vedic, Sanskrit, the more complex it is with respect to syntax, case, gender, mood, voice, tense, and verb form. If you learn biblical Greek, you know that's right. and even Paleo-Hebrew, and hieroglyphics. The best evidence indicates that languages devolve, that is, it becomes simpler instead of more complex. We see that in American, they've got the Gen Z Bible and everything, and it's just, think about LOL and all these abbreviations. Most linguists reject the idea of simple languages evolving to complex languages. Speech as well. Humans have both a pre-wired brain capable of learning and conveying abstract ideas. I did want to say my dog, Sugar Bear, was very brilliant. And Sister Waldron and I, we determined she knew somewhere very close to 70 words at one time. That when we would say certain words, she'd react in a certain way. Especially squirrel. She liked that one. Physical anatomy, we have that type: mouth, throat, tongue, larynx, etc., to produce a wide range of sounds. Only a few animals can approximate human sounds. Parrots, parakeets. Because the human larynx is low in the neck, a long air column lies above the vocal cords. This is important for making vowel sounds. Because apes lack this long air column, they cannot make clear vowel sounds. Even if ape could evolve all the physical equipment for speech, that equipment would be useless without a pre-wired brain for learning language skills, especially grammar, vocabulary, and syntax. Next, we're going to look at information technology and how we obviously were programmed. I'll explain what I mean next video. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.